Hi everyone, my name is Bob and I'm a cheap old fart. I like to do DIY jobs around the house for a couple of reasons. I don't like to pay too much, and I kind of like the satisfaction of knowing that I can actually fix some of this stuff. You know, I grew up in an era where it wasn't so easy just to pick up the phone or hop on the internet and bring somebody in and have them do a particular job. In my era, my dad and some of the old timers, first thing they did is they got out their tools, or they took a look at something and they figured it out, and they gave at least an attempt to try to fix stuff before they called somebody in. So I grew up that way, and I find that I have a great advantage over some of the old timers in that I have something called YouTube that allows me to go out, research some things, try to figure out how to do it, and more often than not, I seem to have some success. Doesn't mean to say that sometimes I break stuff, doesn't work right, and then I have to call somebody. But at least I gave it a good try. Couple things. You know, when you call somebody out, you have to pay for them to come out, the visit to your house. A lot of times they do more than just fix what's wrong. They find other things that need to be done, and the job escalates to a lot more than it really should have been. And then, you know, they take the part and they increase maybe 3 or 4-fold what the part should cost. And before you know it, you're paying a lot more money than you should. So I'm here to kind of go over a few things. We'll see if we can't fix some things for you. But also note that, hey, I'm just an average homeowner. I am not a professional. Sometimes we work with water, we work with electricity, we work with some things that, you know, could be dangerous to you or to your home. So just know that you're doing this stuff at your own risk. I'm not a professional. If you want to try it, fine. If not, you know, that's fine also. Hi everyone, cheap old fart here, and we've got another project. This is one of those projects, I don't know if you're like me, but I'd say 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, the love of my life, she said to me, she said, cheap old fart, she said, this here kitchen faucet is loose. For some reason it's loose, right? Well, there's a reason that they call me cheap old fart instead of smart old fart, because I went over here and I looked at it and I said, okay, it is a little loose, and then I started looking around for a set screw or something on here that I could tighten. And there's a little thing on the back here that looks like you might be able to tighten it there. Well, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. And when I spent 10 minutes on it, couldn't figure out how to tighten that set screw, I said to my lovely wife that it's not that loose. We'll just leave it alone. Let it be for now. Well, as a matter of fact, just a few days ago, my wife was using this thing, and lo and behold, the whole thing came loose. And voila, there is no set screw back here to tighten it, but there are threads on the faucet here, so it should just be a matter of just screwing this thing back on, right? Sounds pretty good, but the problem is we've got this little pull-out sprayer here, and we can pull this sucker out, but you can't, it doesn't have enough room inside there to spin when you spin the faucet around. So in order to fix this thing, I'm going to have to pull this sprayer out, and then we'll rotate this thing, we'll tighten it up, put the sprayer back in, and voila, we should be good. So all that being said, this is a Moen faucet, pull-out sprayer, could work its way loose, right? One of the things that I don't particularly like about this is it does allow you to spin this thing 360 degrees. So over time, this could happen. So anyway, that's good. We're going to get all set up. We'll turn our lights on. I'll get my butt underneath the sink. First thing we're going to do is we're going to turn off the water. A couple of valves underneath there. But part of the problem is, take a look. Kind of ugly underneath there. We're going to have to clean that out. And then, take a look. I'm not the littlest dude in the world, so I got to get my fat butt underneath there to get to work on this. So give us a minute. We'll get all hooked up and ready to go, and then we'll get under there. Okay, so now we've got access. I got rid of some of the junk that was underneath here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn off the water. So there's a couple valves down here. Actually, there's 3 valves. One for hot, one for cold, and then there's one that goes over to the dishwasher. I'm not going to worry about the dishwasher at this point. We're just going to crank these off 90 degrees. Hopefully I can reach this one over here. It's a little bit more difficult. There we go. That was a little bit tricky. Okay, so now that once we got that, let's go ahead and give it a try up here, and we can maybe get some of the water that's in the lines. Okay, as you can see, I've got the water on. There's nothing coming out, so we should be good for disconnecting this hose. Okay, now that we have the water off, and we won't make a mess, hopefully, the next step is to remove the weight. And this has got a little plastic weight on here, and that helps the sprayer to retract. If you take a look at it, we should just be able to pull that little clip. You pull that clip up, and it'll just separate this, and we can remove that from the hose. Next step is we have a quick connect, little plastic quick connect up here, and we should be able to squeeze that and pull it out, and we get a little bit of a geyser here going, but nothing too drastic. And if you look, there's little plastic tabs. Just squeeze in on those plastic tabs and pull out. And you'll see that we've got this little disconnect here. Once we do that, it's a good idea to take a look. Make sure there's a little O-ring on here. Just make sure that O-ring is still there, and that it seems to be in good shape. Mine isn't that old, so it's not in bad shape. So at this point, we're good. We're disconnected. We should be able to take the sprayer, pull it out of the housing, and then we'll be able to rotate that and tighten things back up. So, very good. Okay, scratch what I just said. After I've taken a look at this, I don't think we're going to have to take the sprayer completely out. Now that we have the hose disconnected at the bottom, we should be able to just rotate this, kind of rotate that hose as we spin this back on. And we should be good to go. May take 2 of us to do that, but we're gonna go ahead and do it that way instead of pulling it completely out. Okay, we've got the hose disconnected. I'm going to attempt to just screw this back on, and we'll see if this just kind of moves with me as I do that. So let's go ahead and spin this around. So it's back on there. Okay, and of course the way this is designed to pivot like this, it's not going to tighten up on you, right? So it'll get to a certain point, and then it'll just thread all the way in, and then it'll just continue to keep spinning. You could kind of lift up on here and you'll see that there are no threads showing here. So that'll tell you that yes, indeed, we do have it back installed. So we're all threaded in at this point. Should be good to go. Now we're going to get back underneath here, untangle the hose, put the weight back on, and then put the hose back. We'll connect it back up, and we should be good to go. Okay, first things first. I think I said things backwards. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in first. And like I said, it's a quick connect. So I'm just going to grab this. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this the way this works, we're going to push this in until it bottoms out, and then there's a little plastic clip that will lock it into place. So let's push it all the way up till it bottoms out, push the white clip, and then we're good to go. We're hooked up and it's in there good. So the next step is to take care of the weight. Okay, so before we do that, we are going to kind of adjust this hose a little bit so that it's not kinked and it's in a spot where we can pull this out pretty safely and pretty easily. So I've got it situated the way that I want it, and it's just a matter of putting this weight back on and then snapping it into place. So there we go. And click, you heard it click into place. I had to give it a little grunt in order to do that. It wasn't real easy. So there we go. We've got it all hooked up again. Next step is to turn the valves back on and make sure that we don't have any leaks. So got that one. This is the tough one over here. We got it. Oh, water's running. Okay, once again, there is a reason why we call this show Cheap Old Fart and not Smart Old Fart, because I turned the water on, our faucet was pointing in this direction, and I had left the faucet in the on position, just like I just did now. We got water all over the place. So make sure before you turn the water on, spin this around, okay, so that the water goes into the sink. You'll avoid a little bit of a mess. Okay, so we've got everything on, water's back on, there's no leaks underneath. This is no longer coming off, it's threaded back in. And the hose, we can pull it out, and we can push it back in. Nothing seems to be binding underneath there, so we're good to go. Thank you so much for joining. If you like the content here, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you know when a new one comes out. And thanks for watching.